Hey girl, hey, it's Robyn with Robyn Scherer Photography. I am here to talk with you today about tips and tricks in Lightroom using the cropping tool. Yes, the cropping tool. So let's get started. Here is an image I took and I am going to reset it, and it is now Sook, straight out of camera. I will do a little bit of editing and we'll get to the cropping tool. I always apply my preset and I always grab my eyedropper and get the white balance correct. This, if you know me, is too cool for me. So I'm going to warm it up and bring the exposure down a hair. And I'm going to grab the tool again, check the white balance, come back up a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom in and check her skin tone. So 75, 65, 55 is what we're looking for. It's off, so I'm going to do some adjusting. I'm going to take down the warmth. I'm going to come down to the luminance slider, which I mentioned in the skin tone video that luminance slider can help you with your skin tones. So I'm going to pull that up a hair and check her skin tone again. So you can also have the RGB at 85, 78, 68. You can see these numbers here are really dang close, so I'm going to leave it, and I think her skin tone looks creamy. I'm happy with that. So let's get onto the cropping tool. So if you grab this will start your cropping. It is at full size right now. I am going to use the 8x10 aspect. And now let's get into the tips and tricks. So it actually is in perfect, looks like it's in perfect alignment here. If it was slightly askew, you can see how my arrows turn there on the side, so you can move the image yourself that way. Another way to get this in alignment is you can click the auto tool, and that will also get it into alignment. You will definitely want to double check it yourself. So if I make it askew, let's check that auto again. It does a pretty good job. The other thing you can do is if it's tilted, or if you shoot crooked, I'm famous for shooting crooked, you can grab the ruler here and you can go from this point to this point. So edge to edge, and again, it writes it. So let's make it askew again. You can also take that ruler and you can go up and down. So I didn't do that very well, so it didn't go back. So let's say we're going to use the building as an up and down. There. So that looks about right to me. I might tweak it a hair. So that is 1, 2, 3 tips for getting your image straight with the cropping tool. Auto, and then using the ruler horizontal and vertical. So those are 3 ways to get your image straight. Now, in the cropping tool, you may also see all the aspect ratios here. The grid, if you go to tools and you see crop grid overlay, you will see grid, thirds, fifths, diagonal. You can read the rest, center, triangle, the rest. So if I click on them, so let's say diagonal, you'll get that here. So what happens is you normally want your focus point to be at the intersecting lines. So let's say we want her face here. Again, with cropping, you don't want to crop at the joints. So we want mid, between the joints, get the crossing on a viewpoint, and so I should tell you that's your 4th tool, using the tools, and you can see the listing of the grid overlays. Now, a 5th tip is you can hit the enter button and it does the cropping. So let's say, let's see, do we like that? It's an 8x10. You can use your 6th tip here, the letter O, and it will cycle through all your options. I'm a big fan of the rule of thirds. If you want to add some interest and not do something so, I'll use the word normal, You can do the golden ratio. So let's see. Sorry, the golden spiral. And that would add kind of just a different element to your picture and guiding the viewer's viewpoint. Again, letter R, 7th tip, will take you to the cropping tool. And again, letter O will let you cycle through. So the golden ratio is right here. So again, you'll want the subject, I should say, here on the lines or maybe on the crosshairs. So again, you don't want to crop at a knee joint. So I'd probably keep her centered with that particular grid. And you can also hit escape, and that will not implement your grid. Let's go back to the letter R to take us back in. Move this around again, get it right where we want it. Now, number 8, you can hit the return button, and that will apply your grid. So those are 8 tips and tricks with the cropping tool. So you can utilize that, get creative, use different images to try out the different grids and see what you like and what inspires you and what speaks to you creatively. I'll show you one more thing here. With the healing tool, we can do the cloning or the healing. If we do the cloning, we can get rid of this black blob back here. And that'll, again, a cloning is exact. So when you take it out, you can kind of see it was exact. I like it to blend in a little more, so I will use the healing, and I will put a drop here, move it over that, and then I will grab something a little bit more forgiving, and that'll just kind of soften the healing that you're doing. So when you come out of it, you can do your backsplash. There's another tip. And check your before and after. It looks pretty spot on, like it was natural. So I do like that. One other thing, back in the cropping tool, let's backtrack a second. Here's all your aspects. These are important for how you want your image to be printed. If you have something special and you don't want the normal 8x10, 5x7, 4x6, you can hit custom. And let's say you want the 1x1, which is the Instagram grid. You can say, okay, and then you'll want to crop accordingly. Again, not at the joints. So let's hit return, and that will put it into the 1x1 square for Instagram grid. So if I hit the letter R, take us back into the cropping tool. Now, here it is. I already had it saved. So if you go back in and you just want, let's say, a wonky size. Let's say you want 20x32. You just type it in, click OK, or hit the return button, and there you have it. So that's landscape. Now, if you wanted this vertical, you can click, I should say press the X button, and that will toggle between portrait and landscape, the letter X. Okay? So I think this image looks better in portrait, and I will hit enter to keep that crop. Now, that's not really a normal framing size, so keep that in mind when you are cropping. Again, back to the cropping tool, I typically do an 8x10. And a lot of times I'll try to leave some wiggle room so that when your client is printing, they're going to get everything they want in the frame. So those are some tips and tricks with the cropping tool in Lightroom. And stay tuned. I will be providing more educational videos for you. And yes, I do focus on senior portraits. I am a local senior portrait photographer here in San Diego. I work for a school doing all their senior yearbook pictures. And then I do take on clients through the year for senior portraits. And it's pretty much year round. So it's very fun. And if you head to my website, I do have a senior photography course you can take. It's self-paced and lots of information. What's very important to me is connecting with your seniors so that you get emotive images, not posed in stale images. So anyways, check out that course. Maybe it's for you. And I'd love for you to subscribe, and I will see you back. Thank you so much.